Hey there everyone, it's Retro Martin here, and it's time for the 6th completion for the RPG challenge, and it's going to be Final Fantasy 15. Now, I didn't just complete the base game, so this is one of the 2 games that I've played that I'd already completed once in the past. I think I got the game sometime in 2017, maybe a little bit after it originally came out in 2016. Played the base game before any of the downloadable content came. I quite enjoyed it for what it was. A lot of people didn't like it because they felt that there was too much missing and it was very disjointed. But, you know, I thought it was a good game. I haven't really completed it or played it properly since. I went back in a couple of times just to get some post-patch stuff, but nothing massive. However, this was me picking up the Royal Edition that came out a few years later. Now this has pretty much all of the DLC included apart from one, which I had to get separately, which is a little bit annoying, but there you go. And I decided to go through the entire game again from scratch, just to experience the story again, and then just do the downloadable contents at the points that they became relevant to the story. Now, I enjoyed the story for what it was. Like, the antagonist, Ardyn, is absolutely brilliant. You know, he's one of my favourite Final Fantasy bad guys because of his story. And I didn't think there was anything missing. Everything was perfectly understandable without any of the downloadable content, but others disagreed with that. So I managed to complete it. I've done all of the quests bar a few of the like optional end super boss style dungeon ones, which I'm part way through doing. I've done all 4 downloadable content, so that's for each of the 3 side characters, as well as the antagonist as well. They clock in about 1 to 2 hours each, depending on what you do. They were quite good fun, and they varied the gameplay up a little bit. One was just pure action. One was turned into sort of third-person RPG shooter. Another one was pretty much like the main game, but you know, there was a few differences to it. But in real terms, it was still just an action RPG. And the antagonist one was pretty much exactly the same as well. Although, you know, playing the antagonist, getting to see his backstory is pretty good. But what we have here is an action-adventure game, an action RPG rather. Most people know the Final Fantasy series, so I'm not going to harp on about it or anything like that. It's action-style combat, probably the weakest part of the game in my opinion. A lot of the enemies attack so fast, you've got no chance of dodging it if you're already attacking, so I don't really like the design decision on that. It was the one thing that stopped me from getting the game originally straight away as it was, because I did not like the combat. I've gotten used to it, I can get by on it, but the game pretty much just feels like you're item spamming, because an enemy will just go click and you'll lose half your health from something that you had no chance of dodging because you were midway through a swing with no way of knowing that it was coming. But other than that, the game itself it's relatively open world. Like, it has a world map, but when you hit a certain point in the story, it goes fully linear, and then you're sort of stuck on rails story-wise to the end of the game. However, you can backtrack to before that linear point to complete any other side quests and stuff. It's a bit of a weird way of doing it, but it's fine. The cast are absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed the 4 lads. It was great in in this version, because when I originally played it, you could only control the main character Noctis. When it came to Gladio, Prompto and Ignis, you couldn't control them at all. Being able to play as them in battle has actually made my life a lot easier, and I've enjoyed the combat a lot more as a result of that, because you can vary it up a little bit. And I think taking my time with it and just doing a lot of the optional stuff has meant that I've been able to power the characters up a lot more. So I've been able to enjoy it from not doing it as a challenge mode sort of thing, compared to just over-leveling it a little bit and being able to enjoy it. There's a great variety of locales. There's quite a lot of monsters to chew your way through. There's absolutely tons of endgame content now for people that like that sort of thing once the main game is finished. The music is by Yoko Shimomura, who's quite well known for her work on Street Fighter 2 and for some of the younger people, Kingdom Hearts. But we'll stick with Street Fighter 2. So, yeah, soundtrack's absolutely fantastic. It's one of my favourites. You've also got select soundtracks for some of the other games as well in the car. Obviously, as you can see behind me, I've got the lads just driving around at the moment because there's an awful lot of gameplay I could show off, but there's tons of videos for that, so I didn't see the point. But from a completion perspective, this one's taken me probably nigh on 100 hours in total because of all the downloadable content, and I took time and I just did an awful lot of the stuff, as I said. But I thoroughly enjoyed it again on my second time round. It is actually, a much better game than I think people give it credit for. Yes, it has its issues. Yes, it's not one of the strongest Final Fantasy games of all time. It's a hell of a lot better than Final Fantasy 13, let me tell you. And I much prefer it to what seems to be everyone's favourite at the moment, which is Final Fantasy 10. I don't understand why that one gets so much plaudits, to be honest with you. I thought it was a relatively good game, but nothing special. But yeah, I'd heartily recommend anyone to try it out. It is a great game, as I've said. I've thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. And I'm just taking a little bit of a break from the RPGs now, just to go through some other games that I wanted to play from my backlog, or just having fun with playing again. But I've already decided on number 7, and it is going to be Vandal Hearts, albeit a translated version on the Sega Saturn. I do have it on the PlayStation. I didn't quite complete it, but I did get a fair way into it. But I haven't done a Saturn RPG yet, and I thought doing Vandal Hearts on it might be a good excuse to be able to go through it again. So I hope you've enjoyed having well, I say a look, more of a listen about Final Fantasy 15 while it's been playing in the background. It's got, as I said, it's got a great story, a great cast. It's really held up by just the banter between the 4 leads and just some of the stuff like that you can do. RPG fishing aficionados are going to get a kick out of it because there's a lot of fishing. I managed to catch the elusive superfish earlier on this morning, which was the last quest I needed to complete. So the combat's one of the weaker elements of it for me. I do like action combat. I don't like action combat where you have to dodge every 20 minutes before you can get hits in without getting hit. So yeah, definitely give it a go, and I'll see you in the next video for the RPG challenge, which will hopefully be Vandal Hearts.